Human history loves to tell stories about genius. We admire intelligence, vision, and careful planning. We imagine inventors working late at night, fully aware that they are about to change the world. But when we look closely at the origins of many of the inventions that shape modern life, a different pattern emerges. A pattern defined not by certainty, but by error. Not by intention, but by surprise. Again and again, progress begins at the exact moment something goes wrong. At the dawn of the 20th century, humanity lived under constant threat from invisible enemies. Bacteria and infections killed millions every year. A small wound could become fatal. Surgery was dangerous, childbirth was risky, and even common illnesses could end lives. In this fragile world, Alexander Fleming worked quietly in his London laboratory, studying bacteria without any grand ambition to revolutionize medicine. His workspace was cluttered, his methods imperfect. When he returned from vacation in 1928, he found that one of his petri dishes had been contaminated with mold. To most scientists, this would have meant nothing more than failure. But Fleming noticed something extraordinary. The bacteria surrounding the mold had vanished. That single observation, born from neglect rather than planning, eventually led to penicillin. Antibiotics reshaped medicine, transformed warfare, extended life expectancy, and altered the very relationship between humans and disease. A forgotten dish changed the fate of millions. Not all accidents happened in silence. Some happened amid the urgency of war. During World War II, engineers raced to develop radar systems that could detect enemy aircraft. Percy Spencer was one of them. His focus was survival, not convenience. Yet one day, standing near a magnetron, he noticed his chocolate bar had melted inside his pocket. There was no fire, no heat source, nothing obvious. Instead of ignoring it, Spencer became curious. He tested popcorn kernels, which burst into fluffy explosions. He tested eggs, which violently shattered. These chaotic experiments revealed that microwave radiation could heat food from the inside by exciting water molecules. What began as a military anomaly eventually became the microwave oven, changing how people eat, work, and structure time in their daily lives. Speed entered the kitchen through an accident. Elsewhere, failure took a quieter, more patient form. At 3M, chemist Spencer Silver tried to invent a super-strong adhesive and produced the opposite. His glue was weak, removable, and unimpressive. It had no obvious purpose. For years, it was ignored. But failure does not always disappear. Sometimes it waits. When Art Fry struggled with bookmarks falling out of his book, he remembered that forgotten adhesive. By pairing weakness with need, Post-it notes were born. Offices, schools, and homes around the world would eventually rely on a product that existed only because someone refused to discard a failed idea. Long before that, in a darkened laboratory in Germany, Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen noticed a glowing screen that should not have been glowing. Invisible radiation was passing through space, through objects, through flesh. He called it X-rays because he did not understand it. By placing his wife's hand between the radiation and a photographic plate, he revealed her bones. Medicine crossed a boundary that could never be reversed. Humans could now see inside themselves without cutting the body open. Surgery, diagnosis, and science entered a new era because light appeared where darkness was expected. Obsession also played its role in accidental invention. Charles Goodyear dedicated his life to fixing rubber, a material that melted in heat and cracked in cold. His obsession ruined him financially and personally. One careless moment, dropping rubber mixed with sulfur onto a hot stove, produced a stable, elastic material. Vulcanized rubber made modern transportation, industry, and infrastructure possible. Cars, tires, machinery, and countless objects exist because of a mistake fueled by obsession. Sometimes invention is born from emotion rather than curiosity. In a New York restaurant, Chef George Crumb grew irritated by a customer who complained that his potatoes were too thick. In frustration, Crumb sliced them impossibly thin, fried them until crisp, and oversalted them. The insult failed. The customer loved them. Potato chips spread across the world, creating a global snack industry, born from pride and annoyance rather than creativity. In France, Edouard Benedictus dropped a glass flask and expected disaster. Instead, the glass cracked but held together due to a plastic residue inside. This observation led to safety glass, preventing millions of injuries in vehicles and buildings. In another lab, Roy Plunkett opened a gas canister that seemed empty. A white powder fell out instead. That powder became Teflon, a material now essential in kitchens, medicine, electronics, and space travel. A wrong resistor chosen by Wilson Greatbatch caused a circuit to pulse instead of record. That pulse matched the rhythm of the human heart. Pacemakers were born from a single incorrect choice, proving that life itself can depend on error. Super glue was rejected for being too sticky. Silly putty failed as synthetic rubber. Saccharin was discovered because a chemist forgot to wash his hands. Coca-Cola was born when syrup met carbonated water by mistake. Cornflakes emerged from dough left too long. Matches appeared when chemicals ignited unexpectedly. Outside laboratories, accidents continued shaping the world. Burrs stuck to clothing-inspired Velcro. Wallpaper cleaner became Play-Doh. Laughing gas at parties led to anesthesia. Plastic emerged unintentionally from chemical reactions. Dynamite became safer through accidental absorption. Ice cream cones were improvised at a fair when dishes ran out. Champagne was once a failed wine. Stainless steel was discovered because it refused to rust. Chewing gum failed industrially, but succeeded socially. Coffee entered human culture because someone noticed how animals reacted to berries and asked why. Across centuries, cultures, and industries, one truth remains unchanged. Progress is not clean. Innovation is not linear. The world we live in was not designed perfectly. It was discovered imperfectly. Mistakes are not the opposite of success. They are often its doorway. The next invention that reshapes humanity may already exist, hidden inside an error, waiting for someone to stop, observe, and choose curiosity over routine.